Kia ora, and welcome to the What Inspired Me Today podcast, a podcast created to inspire you to be the very best that you can be. My name is Stephen Matthew, and this is what inspired me today.
Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It is an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you today. On this week's podcast, I wanted to talk about the topic of optimism. The quote that I wanted to use is from someone very, very famous that we have all heard of, and it's from Anne Frank. Anne Frank says this: "How wonderful it is that nobody need to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." What a wonderful sentiment, as well as an ideal that we should all aim to do. It is a reminder that we are all able and capable of changing the world around us with little actions, one step at a time. All these years later, we get to reflect back on her life and the circumstances and situations that the world went through during its most heinous and dark moment in history. But we also know that there was great hope and optimism in that young girl's life, even during all of that difficulty. And that is what I wanted to focus on today. The topic of optimism. Now, when we think about optimism, we often use the analogy of a glass. Either it is half full or half empty, depending on what perspective we look at that glass from. What we do with our own life, the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we feel, is determined by the level of optimism that we carry. Now, optimism is a very important thing that we can use as a tool to carry us through negative experiences. However, I do want to caution not to fall into the category of toxic positivity. Now, you might be thinking, what is toxic positivity? How can positivity even be considered toxic? Let me define and characterize a couple of key differences between optimism and toxic positivity. Optimism is this hopefulness and confidence about the future or about something succeeding in the future. However, toxic positivity is maintaining a positive mindset no matter how dire or difficult a situation is. Pretending that something is good even when it is not. Notice here that there is a fine line between the two, because we can remain positive even when situations are difficult. However, when we choose to reject all difficult emotions and circumstances, when we choose to disregard and not give any credence to the situation that we're in, then that is considered toxic positivity. So we want to refrain from trying to pretend like everything is okay. This might be well known through that meme that you know, right? With the dog in a burning building saying everything is fine, when everything is clearly not fine. That is toxic positivity. What we want to cultivate in our lives is optimism. Optimism is a hopefulness and a confidence about the future, about the success of something. It is having faith, knowing that things might not be okay right now, but it is about looking forward in the future, knowing that it might turn out okay. It is knowing that circumstances are temporary. It is about not putting ownership on our own lives and trying to personalize things, but knowing that the outward expression and the outward circumstances may change, but we will carry on and see it through to the end. That is optimism. Now, there are some really great benefits to being optimistic. One of the big things is that it increases our motivation, it increases our lifespan. So there was a study done in 2019 that showed that individuals that showed more optimism in their life displayed lower risks of mortality, whether that be through things like cancer, whether that be through things like heart diseases. They lowered their risk of mortality as compared to those individuals that were not optimistic. It also reduced basal levels of stress, particularly through the molecule in our body that runs through our body during high stress moments, known as cortisol. Individuals that remained more optimistic had lower stress levels. So managing our optimism and maintaining this optimism is good for our overall health. Now, one way to engage in optimism is what's known as conscious optimism, meaning that when we are aware, meaning when we are in our conscious thought, we try to maintain a level of hopefulness and confidence in that present moment in time. So, optimism is tied hand in hand with mindfulness, meaning that when I am mindful of my present moment in time, when I can engage with what I'm thinking about, what I'm feeling, the environment that I'm in, when I'm truly present and cognizant in the present moment in time, I can remain more optimistic. And as I train my brain, and this is something that can be learned and something that can be improved upon, as I train my brain to be more optimistic, then I will learn this as a habit. And as I do it more often, that muscle of optimism grows in my own subconscious. So when I am not thinking about it, I am still maintaining a positive frame of mind. Now, you might ask me, Steve, am I lying to myself? Am I pretending? Am I doing what you mentioned before, which was fake it till you make it? In a way, yes, because your brain will listen to what you tell it. I love this Bible verse from Proverbs 18 verses 21. It says this: "Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat its fruit." What that means is this: if I say negative things, if I think about negative things and then I say negative things, if I see that the weather is not good and I go, oh, well, that's going to be a horrible day, and I think about it and I say it, if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and I go, well, that does it, this day is going to be bad, my brain will hear it through my ears and will start thinking about what I just said. Because I have already set a precedent for the day, that being that it is going to be negative, I am going to subconsciously already look for the negative things in that day. However, if I can speak life, meaning if I can speak positive and engaging things that will train my brain to think and look for the positive things for that day, then I will engage in positivity. Now, this is not toxic positivity. This is optimistic, mindful positivity, meaning that I am engaged with what is real, what is true, and actively and consciously thinking of the good things in life, thinking of the best moments in that moment. Because if I can take a moment to clearly define what is good in that present moment in time, I will think about it, I will see it, I will hear it, I will speak it, and I will feel it. And as I do that and continue to do that, I will train the muscles of my body, whether that be the mind, whether that be the eyes, whether that be the ears or the mouth or the heart, that there are positive things in this world and it is worth looking out for and it is worth actively remembering. I want to finish off with this quote from Roy T. Bennett, and he says this: "Be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, and finally, be kind." If we engage in active mindfulness, trying to be optimistic as much as we can, not trying to fake it when we are feeling bad and when we have negative emotions, allow those emotions to flow within you and leave you. But after they have gone, what was something positive about it? What is something that you can be hopeful for? What is something that you can be confident in for your future? When you take the moment to focus in on those, the negative moments slowly start to disappear, and you will realize that the negative moments are only temporary and you will get through this because you are an optimistic person, knowing that you're confident in your future, knowing that you are hopeful even when all else seems hopeless. Put your trust, put your faith, knowing that things will turn out for the good. So, with that said, have a great week.